It was a swish.
Thank goodness I turned on my mic in time. So we are in the pick and ban phase. So for you guys waiting, the first match of the GPL, day number 1, week number 1 is starting. Saigon Jokers is taking on the Imperium Pro team. Let's take a look at the pick and bans now.
We are waiting. Now.
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay,
got it.
We got
All right. Saigon Jokers going up against the Imperium Pro team. Quick bans coming out from both teams here. It's going to be Cassidin and Twisted Fate taken out by the Saigon Jokers, LeBlanc and Nidalee from the Imperium Pro team. Very mid-lane heavy bans here.
Yes, very mid-lane heavy bans. The overlays suddenly disappear, but never mind. Let's kind of talk about what these bans kind of mean to the team. Nyx Water is one of the pillars of the Saigon Jokers, and so is IPT Light. They both perform very well in terms of their own region, and of course they are one of the pillars of their team. Hence, a whole bunch of mid-lane bans coming out, and of course the Lee Sin ban, most likely targeted at safety, someone who's quite comfortable in using that champion and using very aggressive early game junglers.
Yep, and if you look at the starting lineups for Saigon Jokers, we do see a fair bit of switch around with their sister team, Saigon Fantastic Fire, and that's because Goni, Nyx Water, as well as Vigors, they were previously in the Spring Split in Saigon Fantastic Fire, so they had a little internal swap around of their roster members. So
are they really sister teams though?
I know
they're scrim partners, but
okay,
not very sure.
But okay, if you have the rights to kind of switch around the members, so I'm going to assume that they're pretty close.
Maybe some money was handed, I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, let's kind of talk about the picks anyway. Let's ignore what I just said. No, that was just pure nonsense. Anyway, top first pick coming out, Lulu, very strong utility-based mage. That, of course, will go into the hands of the Saigon Jokers. Imperium Pro team decides to go for Thresh and Evelyn. Evelyn, a very strong jungler, most likely to deny it away from safety. Again, someone who really likes to use those high-impact early-game junglers. And, of course, Saigon Jokers going in with the Morgana and Twitch lane in the bot lane.
Yep, so locking in their bottom lane straight away. And if you look at Saigon Jokers and Lulu, Lulu is a very flexible pick, so it can either go into the hands of Nyx Water, and even Goni can play it as well. We have seen the resurgence of some of the AP top laners happening, and for Imperium Pro team, securing the Thresh for themselves a very strong and solid pick overall for most of the Philippines team, because we kind of talk about them being the region that really likes to go for those skill shot champions, and they can utilize it fairly well. And for their jungle, they are going to lock in the Evelyn as well. And if you look at Imperium Pro team, they have a new jungler. It's going to be Kaigu who's going to be playing for them, and of course, he was previously playing with Mineski as
that's
well.
right.
So yeah, so some new faces coming in. The counter is locked in for Imperium Pro team with the new visual update as
that's
well.
Right.
So kind of excited for that, and Caitlyn being secured for Fear down the bottom lane.
Yeah. So what we have here from Imperium Pro team is a rather farm-centric mid laner who can become a hyper carry and a very dangerous force to be reckoned with in the late game. Don't know if they want to kind of counter pick that lane. I think Lulu does pretty well against Karthus in general, but let's see what Saigon Jokers decides to go for in the final 2 picks in their pick rotation. So far they have Lulu, Twitch, and Morgana. Very strong bot lane, very strong either top or mid laner. They have to pick either their jungler, and I'm going to guess they're going to pick a top laner here for Goni.
Yep, so they do have that little bit of flexibility to play around with, but I can't say the exact same for Imperium Pro team as well, because it is not uncommon to see sometimes that we get that Karthus up the top lane. I think TSM Dyrus played that in a couple of times back then when he was playing in the Spring Split. So let's see if that's going to happen here. And it does look like
I'm not going to be surprised if it's Jax and Pantheon. Yes, they do lock it in. So it is going to be the Jax and Pantheon pick. Safety, someone who really likes that Pantheon in the jungle, uses it to, I wouldn't say great effect, but he kind of understands how to use that champion. His team, though, may not understand how to use the Pantheon Grand Skyfall combination. I've always said during the Spring Split that the only team that really knows how to use the Pantheon Grand Skyfall is AHQ Esports Club, and they're not the ones playing Pantheon here. So maybe after the whole break between spring and summer, they have picked up a few tricks from AHQ and maybe learned a few for themselves. Imperium Pro team, though, hovering over the Gragas. Will we see the Gragas top lane stealing it away from that Vietnamese meta game that we saw also popular happen in the Spring Split?
Yeah, but there's been a few bit of changes that happened to Gragas.
Oh, I think a few is an understatement here.
All right, a complete rework of his kit, if you want to put it that way then. So currently hovering over the Ziggs could be the choice as well for Imperium Pro team. And if that's the case, I'm going to think that it's going to be the Karthus up in the top lane.
Yeah, if they do lock in, let's see if that's the case. Yes, it's going to be Ziggs. So Most likely the Carters in the top lane, or will it be? We'll find out once they make their role swaps complete. Double heal coming out from the side of Imperium Protein. The mid laner is going to pick up that one as well. And of course, you know, Nixwater being that aggressive mid laner that he has shown to be, is going to just pick up the Ignite on his Lulu instead. Lulu has just a whole bunch of utility, doesn't really need a heal all too much. The teleport coming out from both top laners though is quite important.
Very common.
Yes.
Yeah, very common in the current meta now. And what I like about Saigon Joker's team composition now is that, you know, there's a lot of ways that they can approach and engage. You can have Twitch kind of stealth up and pick someone right off the gut. But then again, you can start things off with the Grand Skyfall from Pantheon as well. And the good thing about it is that Nixwater is going to provide all the utility that Saigon Jokers is going to need to make those fights happen. So I would have to say for the most part, Saigon Jokers, they really need to get Nixwater rolling in this game because he is going to be the ones to really keep everyone alive or to just throw a couple of glitter lances to make sure that the engage goes smoothly for the Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, that's right. So we will kind of talk about a little bit more about the team compositions, but of course, let's kind of talk about the Twitter question that actually disappeared from the screen, but never mind that. Use the hashtag GPL Esports and either use Facebook or Twitter now. So we're using both Facebook and Twitter with the hashtag GPL Esports.
New split, new changes.
Tell us which are the top 4 teams, or which teams you want to see emerge as the top 4 teams in the GPL and why. So that's the question we pose to you, and of course if you do kind of answer using the hashtag and we pick your answer to be read live on air, you will win one of the Pentakill skins. And of course this competition is only available, or only applicable to summoners from the Singapore and Malaysian regions. But before I actually get the summoners to kind of tell us what the top 4 teams we expect, let's ask Chris first. What are the top 4 teams you expect to see and why?
I really love to see an upset happen in the current split because if you think about it, the Taiwanese teams have always been the dominant force in the Garena Premier League. But then we have started to see the Vietnamese teams really step up on their gameplay and then pose a challenge to these Taiwanese teams back then in the spring split. So what I really like to see is some sort of dark horse emerging and then be the ones to end up in the top 4 semifinals and then eventually into the grand finals. So that's going to be my vote there. I want to see a dark horse happen. I don't want to go with the mainstream stuff. Let's see if that's going to happen in this split.
Yeah, that's right. So speaking about dark horses, let's kind of see if SAJ or IPT will be the first one to claim or take the first blood in this split, and we will be looking at that game very shortly.
Vấn đề là anh ta bắt ai đây? Anh ta bắt vào Optimus. Có đồng hồ ca đến từ vị trí bên sau. Siêu quay tuyệt vời. Tạ Tung Đột mắt được cắm vào, có một cú Thái Dương hạ sang tuyệt vời của Vigos và chắc chắn Minat không gặp nguy hiểm, thậm chí họ đang lao lên tấn công. Vigos đang bắn Minat tạm thời lui ra, hay bắn chiêu cuối ra. Bây giờ Jungle đang tới nhưng Tạ không có tốc biến, khó tiếp cận. Tốc biến làm choáng, G là người bị giữ lại và Jungle đã tới, sát thương là sẽ có đủ mạng dành cho Vigos. Chừng khoảng 1/3 máu kéo được Nixwater và anh ta bay vào có chiêu cuối hết bắn phía ngoài. Jungle chưa làm cả, có một cú xoay rất đẹp của Nixwater. Xoáy được Oriel lại, đó là tình huống mà safety lao tới. Sóng am luôn sẽ có một độ động cơ tuyệt vời. Away bị đá ngược trở lại, tổng hợp Away sẽ phải nằm xuống. rất kiên nhẫn. Goni lại lăn bụng, kích hoạt phản công, có chiêu cuối rất đẹp. Và Joe nhảy xuống nhưng quanh vũ cũng kích hoạt chiêu cuối. Đã về được rồi, tốc biến vào và tốc biến đã ngược ra. Quách Văn cũng đứng lại quẩy, anh ta sẽ không thể nào chống được, đã phải nằm xuống.
Fear ang kanyang crucial courage dito. 1 versus 1, stronger versus Fear. Ano kaya gagawin dito ni Fear to get at least one champion, mga kaibigan, na iwan dito. Napakaganda pagpasok sa loob nitong si Fear. With the wards na nandun sa team members ng IPT dito, muntik nang makuha ni Fear ang buhay ni Warlord Trevor dito. Pero Trevor goes down. Meditation para makapag-disengage sa laban na to. Emily Hughes taking so much damage. Mark is still pushing down the bottom lane, mga kaibigan. Trabaho lang, walang personalan. He has to use that intervention and he goes down once again sa laban na to. Almost enough, miss ang isang papuntang boomerang dito, but Knight still chasing dito si Issei Miyake and si Kansit Pantol will be able to get the life of any champion of these two members of MSI Evo GT, or they will go and escape, mga kaibigan. A good use of his rubber ducky, duck. I mean, the team is against the MSI. Next is still having the 1-7 score dito, mga kaibigan. That Mark is pop out kay Oni. Oni taking so much damage here because his flip walk, but it wasn't enough. He was ignited as well by Mineski. Kaigo dito in the top lane. Yes, they won another kill for the top lane dito. Sa bottom lane. Pero hinahabol ngayon ni Bengal, ni Hero, sa JLC. Mga kaibigan, walang mana ang team members dito ng Warcats, and they have to disengage sa laban nito. Pero napakagandang explosive cast to secure isa pang kill, mga kaibigan, para kay Strong dito.
And we're back.
We are back.
Those intro videos are extremely cool, but they were extremely long.
And you're absolutely right with that. But we are back into the game with a slight pause. It looks like the technical issues have not yet been fully resolved yet. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, since now we have this little downtime, let's talk about these two returning teams from the spring split.
No,
okay,
but before we do that, let's run through the lineup once more.
Okay, fine.
How's that sound? Saigon Jokers playing on the blue side, Imperium Pro Team playing on the red side. It's going to be Jax in the top lane being played by Goni, Safety in the jungle playing Pantheon, Nixwater in the mid lane playing Lulu, and in the dual lane, Archie and Vigos playing Twitch and Morgana.
And for Imperium Pro Team and the starting lineup, Hero up in the top lane playing that newly updated Karthus, Kaigu now in the jungle playing Evelyn, Light playing Ziggs in the mid lane, Fear and Shadow playing Caitlyn and Thresh respectively.
Yeah, that's right. So once again, sorry for all the technical difficulties, but let's kind of take this time to talk a little bit more about the team compositions. Quite interesting to see a Karthus and Ziggs solo lane coming out for our first game of the Garena Premier League. What is the use of, you know, having that Karthus and Ziggs? Because, you know, Karthus doesn't really provide a lot of lane pressure per se. Yes, he can become a late game hyper carry, but it really allows Jax a lot of space to kind of farm in the top lane, don't you think so?
Yeah, what I really like about Kaufers though, you do have that little bit of leeway that you are giving over to Jax, but if you look at the competitive scene now, as overall as a whole, there's a lot of lane switches, and I think over at LCS they coined the term 2v0. So right now, we might actually see Goni and Hero just head into the jungle, get that buddy system going with Kaigu and Safety, just get some additional farm for themselves, and then finally returning that to lane. So if you look at League of Legends now overall in the competitive scene as a whole, the metagame has kind of shifted quite a fair bit. And a lot have changed ever since we kind of took that little pause ever since the Spring Split finals. So let's see if that's going to happen. But what I really want to say though is that for Hero up in the top lane playing the Kaufers, it just adds on to this additional zoning potential that they have. They already have a ton of zones from Ziggs and from Thresh as well, but right now, you throw down the Wall of Pain, that's just going to create some more additional zone for Fear and Light to siege up. So I kind of really like what IPT's game plan is here today, but they really need to get it rolling here. Because if that's not the case, Saigon Joker's flavor of the month team composition is just going to roll all over them.
Yeah, let's kind of take a look at where these two teams are going. So here we have SAJ in the top half of the map, whereas IPT has already aggressively invaded in the bottom half of the map, the red side jungle of Saigon Jokers. And having the Evelyn there, they can just kind of walk freely, and with Hero on Carthus, he can use that layways to kind of spot out, have that long range pimples to just spot out whoever's in those brushes.
Yep, and just to remind our viewers as well, for this particular match, it's played on the 4.9, the live servers as well. So that's where we get to see the Carthus visual upgrade, and of course, there's a couple of changes in this current patch as well, where Brom Cuddles gets nerfed, and Kha'Zix gets a huge change in his kit as well.
Speaking of which, Brom, Shen, Zed, and Rengar are all globally banned in the Garena Premier League for at least week 1 because due to some issues that they have. So those champions, we will not see them this week. But both teams now just kind of invading, quite a quiet start. The buffs have spawned an interesting sweeper start there from Safety, so he will use that to try to check if, he was spotted. But the thing is that both teams having counter jungle each other's buff will just get, the junglers will just get a double buff start anyway.
Yep, it looks like Saigon Jokers are going to be the team to initiate this 2v0 start here, as now we do see Goni as well as Safety just sharing that jungle camp experience, but for Imperium Pro Team, it's a completely different story here. They are going for this very traditional start here, as Hero is going to start himself up the top lane, and I'm not too sure what is going to be the immediate reaction from Saigon Jokers, because right now, they have the option to go for 4v0.
Oh, they might catch out Hero though. Will Safety have the ability to get for the stun? I don't think that's the case, so the layways they're just trying to use to poke, but no damage is being dealt to the champion. So Hero there just gonna get denied a whole bunch of CS, and the smite will just be used to secure the big golem. So will we see a 4v1 turret push here in the top lane? It does seem like that's gonna be the case, but the minion wave is about to die out.
Yeah, that's right, and for Saigon Jokers, a very nice response to what they have to Imperium Pro Team, because they saw for a fact that Hero is by himself, and now Kaigu.
Oh, they go for the flash and the initiate. Hero is only level 1. They will get the first blood. It will go to RG. And there you go, SAJ using that 4-man advantage. Kaigu was not there in time to actually even help out. Shadow just comes into the lane for some more pressure. That's just going to be first blood and a whole bunch of turret damage to the top lane of IPT.
Yeah, that's right, and this is the sole reason why 2v0s are so popular in the current meta now, as we go into a replay to see how the first blood occurred up in the top lane.
Yeah, watch that flash, man. Chris, run me through this one.
So it was just Saigon Jokers knowing exactly how to control the wave, so they push up the waves, and Safety flashed in with no hesitation at all, and then chain it up with the Dark Binding. Knight gets popped as well, and there's just no way for Hero to run, so a very clean gank. And actually, in the duration of the replay, we did see Archie go down as well, so I think it's going to be Shadow and Kaigu doing some work there to take him down in the meantime. So it's not too bad. They get a return queue for themselves, and now we are in a situation where Shadow and Kaigu is assisting Hero up to come in.
Yeah, now Goni actually goes aggressive onto Fear, so this Jax now wants to put a little bit more damage onto the Caitlyn in the bottom lane. And yes, that kill earlier, the return kill by IPT, was actually gifted to Hero. So, in the mid lane now, Nixwater actually gets hit by the Bubble Flame, will completely miss. And now the counter initiate from Safety is coming in. Shadow, actually, Kaigo taking a whole bunch of damage. Safety will not be able to kind of follow up on any additional damage. Shadow will miss the death sentence as well. Sidestep there by Nixwater. Good play overall, with a whole bunch of misses here from Shadow, with the flash play and of course that death sentence.
IPT had a very good game plan, but hold on up at the top, we might see Hero actually get caught out, and he's gonna
Ooh, so much damage there.
Yeah, that's right. So he has to be very fearful of what Archie and Vigos can do, and I think that's also the reason why Twitch is kind of the flavor of the month. Just because early game he can deal so much damage, and as Kaigu just walks away from the golems, almost getting killed there as well. And you know, in the mid lane, when we saw Imperium Pro Team, when we saw Kaigu and Shadow make an appearance, the game plan was solid. You know, they wanted to do this 3v1 gank, but the execution wasn't perfect. So if they had pulled that off, they would have built up such a nice advantage for the mid lane for Imperium Pro Team. So unfortunately, it didn't happen, so it's back to the drawing board for them.
Let's kind of recap that kill there in the top lane where actually Twitch went down. Let's take a look at what happened here. So Archie kind of overextended a little bit too much, and oh wow, nice death sentence being landed there onto Archie. Simple kill using the wall of pain to prevent Archie from backing off. And this time another death sentence into the play. Safety actually steps on the cupcake there. Oh wow, that 90 carryable net into the Peacemaker is going to grant Fear the kill and the blue buff.
Fantastic play from Shadow there, and I think that is the reason why you do not give Thresh to this Philippines team here, because they, you know, we did see that little misplay in the mid lane, but so far the death sentence has been spot on and it has been creating the pick that Imperium Pro Team needs. But right now, up in the top lane, Hero is facing so much trouble. He is kind of CSing pretty decently here, but right now there's just so much pressure on the top lane turret, so Kaigo is going to be there to give a little bit of assist.
Yeah, so now the score is 2-1 in favor of Imperium Pro Team. The goal difference though is just about 100 gold separating the two teams. Overall, it's just, you know, not a lot of action to really happen in the early game. Yes, there are already 3 kills, but they're just pretty messy skirmishes, I feel. I mean, it was just some rotations coming from SAJ in the early game to catch out Hero for V1, and then, you know, Shadow just being a little bit more aggressive, being that roaming support to use that death sentences. And when it lands, the kill potential coming out from a Thresh lane, or Thresh with anyone for that matter, is actually quite high, especially in the early levels.
Yeah, I have to really call out Shadow on this one. It's a very nice adaptive play to what Imperium Pro Team kind of just misread in the first 3 minutes. Because in the current meta, we do a lot more roaming from the supports. If you think back to the LCS games, we actually see, for example, when X-Masher was playing units, was roaming around a fair bit. And now Imperium Pro Team securing that dual bottom advantage. They are going to go ahead and go for the dragon here.
Oh, Hero getting caught out by the Dark Binding. Safety will land a stun, and it's a simple kill there. Archie picks that one up easily, and there is no kind of counter answer to that one. But nevertheless, IPT, Imperium Pro Team here, did pick up the dragon in that point of time, or during that time, and of course Safety was counter jungling in the red buff camp here. So if Kaigo doesn't go for the opponent's red buff, SAJ will lose a buff. I mean, IPT will lose a buff to SAJ. Light here just takes up the blue buff for himself. Overall, how do you think the early game kind of went? Now 8 minutes in the game with the first turrets already down by both sides. 2-2 in terms of kills, goal still pretty much even. Quite a messy early game start in my opinion.
What I really feel like Imperium Pro Team should do now is to sort of ward up their jungle, because the top lane turret has already gone down, and Saigon Jokers, they really like this playstyle where the moment the first turret goes down, they extend their ward line very aggressively, and then they try to catch people out, which was exactly what happened to Hero there. And the thing about that was that there was no vision protecting him at all. That's why he just got caught out, and he just died to that 3-man gank over there. But right now he's down in the bottom lane, 1v1 against Goni now, so I think that he should be able to farm up pretty safely here. But he is down by 3 CS though, so he is not going to be participating in the team kills until, say, a couple of minutes later, until he gets some stacks in for the Tear of the Goddess and getting some damage on the Requiem as well.
Yeah, that's right. He may be able to pick up assists though, so they have to factor in that Requiem damage every time Saigon Jokers decides to go for a team fight. But speaking about level 6 maneuvers, safety is at level 6 as well, so we're gonna have that for SAJ to use, and now Goni is gonna pass over the blue buff to Nixwater. Let's see where safety decides to go. He's in the bottom half of the map. We may see once again another turret dive here from safety with the help of course Vigos and Archie. They have been roaming as a trio so far. And setting up for that Grand Skyfall can be quite devastating, especially if you have a Morgana in the lane as well.
Yep, and the other thing as well is that they are giving a lot of time over to Goni just to free farm up for himself. And here comes the Skyfall.
Yeah, as I predicted, but this time Kaigu is there to actually respond to this one. The flash and the stun goes in on to Kaigu. Archie easily picks that one up. Hero is down to half HP. I don't think he has the health or the mana to actually sustain from this turret dive here, and he just easily going to go down. Nixwater wanted to pick up an assist there, but Archie just picks up his 4th kill of the game. He's going to go back, get that early Blade of Ruin King easily, and you know, Fear and Shadow will trade the bottom lane tier 1 turret for the top lane tier 1 as well.
Yep, so very solid responses from Saigon Jokers so far. They did lose the first dragon, but you know, they are just roaming around the map much faster than Imperium Pro Team can respond to them. They did take a turret in return, but Saigon Jokers are just racking in kills left and right all over the map, and then just building all this level and all advantages for themselves.
Yeah,
right now it's 1.4k.
Exactly, I mean, they are taking advantage of the fact that Karthus has an extremely weak early game, and they're just constantly going in for the dives, and Kaigu being there didn't help them at all, because Kaigu just went down to the 3-man burst damage combination of Safety, Archie, and Vigos. I mean, these champions have just so much early game burst damage in their kit.
Yeah, that's right. And if you look at Hero's farm over here, I think Jet from the NALCS has kind of mentioned as well, the standard you know, farm for the top laners at the current meta now is about 50 at 10 minutes in, because top laners are kind of deprived of CS, but right now he's only sitting at 41, doesn't have the catalyst completed as well, so he's gonna take a long time to scale up, and I'm not sure if Imperium Pro Team is gonna buy time for him to actually farm up.
Yeah, that's right. It does seem like SAJ are setting their sights on the final outer turret of the game on the side of IPT. They will want to take that down in some time at least. And speaking about the farm and item differences, if we kind of take a look at what each of them have, oh, Shadow needs to be really careful that he's picking a fight with both a Morgana and a Pantheon. They will see Kaigu, they will have Kaigu as backup, but nevertheless, SAJ there just don't want to overcommit for that pink ward, or do they? Oh, the box comes out, Safety there actually gets away with his life. He's gonna get hit by a bouncing bomb though.
Oh,
there we go. It's not going to be enough though. But then the Requiem comes in. Hero picks up the kill with that one. So they need to constantly factor in the global damage from both the Mega Inferno Bomb and the Requiem, because that was definitely something that they should not have got. I did not expect them to contest that pink ward, and it kind of shows the mistakes that they've made. They gave away the kill there.
I bet when Safety, you know, sort of survived the Mega Inferno Bomb, he must have had like a bit of sigh of relief there, and then he just saw the Requiem pop over his head, and then he just got so disappointed, and he just went down the process. So that's gonna give some gold back to Hero there, and something for him to work with, especially for the fact now he has been left alone down the bomb lane. Caught out of his CS a little bit, but it's going to take a lot more of those for Imperium Pro Team to make a nice solid comeback. But that being said, Saigon Jokers are only up by 1,000 goals, so it's not something that Imperium Pro Team cannot come back from.
Yeah, at least from that kill, he has managed to pick up the parts of the Rod of Ages, the Catalyst as well as the Blasting Wand. Now has to farm up for the Recipe Gold now, and you know, that's just going to be, once again, more time spent just farming and not contributing to the team all too much. Goni will be sent to the top lane. SAJ needs to kind of extend that ward line. You kind of talked about it earlier, and the ward line has just kind of kept rather... Oh, now pause. But like I said, the ward line in the middle of the map so far. So SAJ not really asserting their authority after having taken down both the top and the bottom tier 1 turret. Similarly, IPT not really asserting their authority. I think they just want to farm it out, allow Hero to farm it out a little bit more. Yeah,
and we are reaching a point of the game where both teams are really just buying out the wards here, because if you look at the side of Saigon Jokers, there are already 2 pink wards placed on the map, and There's one in the inventory for safety and one in the hands of Vigos as well. So I think what they're trying to do is to establish ward control here. But Imperium Pro Team having some very nice responses of themselves because they have just a similar amount of wards there. So it's going to be the battle for vision, I feel, because both teams now, they don't have a solid advantage over each other. So I think if there's going to be a big solid control for vision here, it's going to be Saigon Jokers. They need to really play out the aggression from safety. One good Skyfall, one good gank, and they will be able to open up the map for themselves.
Yeah, haven't seen that Grand Skyfall being put to full effect. We did see that Grand Skyfall come out in the bot lane, I believe, to kind of use that zoning pressure, and of course they did get 2 kills out of it. But outside of that, safety has just been rather quiet so far. Early game, there was a lot of these 3-man roams coming in from safety, Archie, and Vigos, but now that we proceed into the 13-minute mark or so, things have quietened down quite a bit, and you know, that pink ward contest was just completely not worth it at all.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the other member that I really want to call out right now is going to be IPT Fear. Just because of the fact that he has been able to sort of farm very comfortably, he is now having a slight CS lead over Archie here.
Now,
but
compared to the 4 and 1 kills that he has.
Yeah, that is the only thing that is separating these two ADCs though, because Archie has always been finding the picks that he wants to, always landing the rat-a-tat-tats to bring everyone down to low health and then finding the kills as well. So now 4-0, finishing up the Blade of the Ruin King. He's gonna grow big if they don't do something to stop this rat here.
Yeah, he will be a potential duelist. I actually expected Archie and Vigos to actually roam up and try to hunt down Hero once again, using that ambush and Contaminate to kind of slow him down. Sorry, not Contaminate, the Venom cast to slow him down, and into the Dark Binding from Vigos playing Morgana. It's kind of a juicy target, don't you think so? Go sneaky, sneaky. Archie walks up right beside him and just insta-gives him. I mean, so much burst damage coming out from the Venom cast and Contaminate once he hits that maximum number of stacks, and Vigos can just go in for the lockdown. So the game will be resumed in 3, 2, 1. Let's see if Hero dies here to Goni.
Right, so Goni is just sitting very patiently on the sidelines. I think he's just waiting for Hero to show his face. But right now, Dragon is live though, and both top laners do have the teleport, so they can rush down to the Dragon Pit if there is a need to. So
Goni, however, has the counter-strike to interrupt that teleport.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is that it's going to be IPT stopping the Dragon off, and here comes the Skyfall.
Grand Skyfall coming in. Oh no, the flash coming from Vigos will get kind of blundered away. Kaigu, wow, takes that Dark Passage out from the side. Archie, though, he is at the flank, trying to deal as much damage as possible. Fear and Shadow will try to chase him, but the Dragon is slain by the Saigon Jokers. They should back up from this one. Vigos goes down with the flash from Fear. The Glitter Lens will land, and the chase will stop from Imperium Pro Team. So they're going to trade 1-for-1. Jungler for support, but Saigon Jokers managed to get the Dragon.
That's right, and Hero doesn't have Requiem as well, so... But the thing is, even if he had Requiem at the point of time, there was not going to be any kill potential anyway, so that's not going to make a big difference. But the big difference here is that Goni didn't have to teleport down to the bottom lane. Oh, hold on, safety might just go down, but...
No Mega Inferno Bomb, no Ace in the hole, so safety's quite safe. But like you said, Dragon taken by Saigon Jokers, a kill apiece for both teams. Additionally, the tier 2 top lane turret went down because of Goni pushing up in the top lane.
Yep, so it's pretty much Saigon Jokers just abusing the raw strength of their composition right here to sort of bully out IPT from the Dragon Pit here. And we saw as well the pressure from the Skyfall from safety just drove everyone away. And Archie with the sneaky rat-a-tat-tat, of course, just to bring everyone low.
Yeah, interesting that he kind of flanked around from the side alone with completely no support at all, and thank goodness for him that he wasn't caught up in any of the crowd control skills by the Imperium Pro Team. If not, that would most definitely be a dead rat.
Yep, and it was also at a point when Nyx Water sort of blew the wall growth already as well. He blew it on Vigos just to keep him alive for a little bit longer. So it was a very big gamble from Saigon Jokers overall, but it was a worthwhile gamble. They were the winners that came out on top.
I have to say though, it's been an extremely messy fight from both teams. I mean, now that I think about that fight, Vigos initiated using a flash, Soul Shackles. And that did nothing at all because the Satchel charge like kind of bounced him backwards, and there you go. The shackles have been broken and no more initiate from there on. But Light now gets caught in a whole bunch of burst damage and CC change. Shadow's not going to get away from this one. That Grand Skyfall was not even needed. Double kill for Archie.
That's right, and Saigon Joker is just making the right rotation at the right time. The double kill now goes over to Archie. It is now a 5v3 defense, and I think that this Tier 2 might just go down over here. Saigon Joker just needs to be very careful on how they approach it, but they shouldn't have too much of a problem. Right now, it's 5,000 goal lead for the Saigon Jokers, and Imperium Pro Team really needs to make something happen if they want to come back into this game.
But you know, I know the favorites were the Saigon Jokers, and Imperium Pro Team was, you know, not the strongest of teams in the spring split, but I honestly expected both teams to kind of be a lot stronger as we kind of look into the replay here of that one fight.
Right, so it was Archie starting things off, and like you mentioned,
but before that, in the live side, I think we should go back really shortly, because there we have Goldie nearly going down. Actually, he will go down to the Requiem now. A whole bunch of damage coming out. Archie barely escaping his life. Nick Water has to run away using the health pick, flashing away from the depth centers.
Wow.
And there, fantastic flash coming out from Safety. Will they be able to catch up though? Safety running away, taking the long route around. Will Hero have that wall of pain? Is he even in range for that one? Yes, he actually gets the brunt of the slow dash. Shadow now has to land that depth sentence. He does land it. It is going to be a kill. Oh. Shadow nearly got taken down there as well, by Hero picking up that one and the red buff for himself. I believe that was a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Imperium Pro Team.
Yeah, great pick from the Imperium Pro Team right at their doorsteps in the jungle, and that is something that we have really mentioned about what they need to come back. As we go into a replay of what exactly happened, we kind of missed that because we were looking at another replay.
So Goni there actually gets taken out extremely low, gets caught out by the death sentence, forces the flash and the counter strike. Requiem coming down from Hero now will pick up that kill. And look at the positioning of Archie as well as Vigos. They overextend way too far, take a whole bunch of front load damage from Fear and Kaigu. Archie, thank goodness, managing to escape from that one. Nick's Water coming from the side as well. Just extremely messy fight from the Saigon Jokers. I have no idea what they were doing there. Why did they kind of continue to go on from that fight? Oh, Fear now in a whole bunch of trouble. He's not going to get away. The Dark Binding will not land, but Fear, you're just going to go down.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to escape out of that one. And bringing ourselves back into the last fight, if you think about it, if Hero had got rolling earlier, it would have been a much different team fight. If you look at the flashing red health bars from Saigon Jokers, they were all relatively low. And if IPT had just scaled up much earlier than that, then Saigon Jokers would have been a much more disadvantageous position. But they're slowly crawling back with this one.
Kaigu had to flash out of his own jungle because he got caught out doing the wolves there. That's a flash burn on the side of Imperium Pro Team.
Yeah, that's right. One more Summoner spells down. One good rotation as well. Saigon Joker is going to take down the bottom tier 2 turret as well. And
Two flashes burned.
Yeah, so Imperium Pro Team really afraid of the raw strength of Saigon Jokers now, giving them complete respect of what they can do in the tower diving.
This is how fast Archie can kind of instigate someone. He has the Blade of the Ruin King burst damage from the active and the active from Yomu's Ghost Blade to just increase his attack speed, increase his movement speed, and just use the Rat-a-tat-tat to obliterate someone instantly. That's amazing.
Yeah, you know what I feel about the Rat-a-tat-tat?
Oh.
Let's talk about that a little later, as Shadow is kind of caught out here.
They're just going to take the tier 2 turret. But yes, what do you feel about the Rat-a-tat-tat, Chris?
Yeah, you know, they call it the Rat-a-tat-tat, but every time you buy some attack speed items on RC, then it's gonna feel like rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, and that's what's happening here.
Yeah, are you gonna go down? Yes, you are, to that poison tick. Archie with that aggressive flash just to get that one last auto attack so that the poison can take him down. The submarine is just gonna work, and he has that flash to get out of that one. Now SAJ will just use that 4-man advantage, or at least that 1-man advantage, to just rotate to the dragon and pick that one up. They're going to increase their gold lead to about 10,000 gold here. Almost 10,000 gold, 9,000 in the lead now. And yeah, this is just, I wouldn't say it's the okay, it's definitely not the cleanest of games from both teams. SAJ is a top tier GPL team. They place consistently top 4, and today, their first game, their debut game against IPT, who is considered one of the weaker teams in the GPL, they're not showing why they are known as a top 4 team at all.
Well, I think you can kind of attribute that to the fact that this is kind of the new lineup that they are working with, because previously Goni, Nixwater, as well as Vigos were on Saigon Fantastic 5. So, you know, when you have new members in the mix, you kind of need to make some adaptations, and you're gonna have that few games where you don't really perform to your maximum potential, and I think that's what's happening now.
Vigos actually just dodged a point blank death sentence, and now with the Grand Skyfall and a teleport coming from Goni and a Wild Growth as well,
Oh,
this might see the first pentakill. No, it's not going to be the first pentakill. I got way too ahead of myself there. Shadow is the only one that comes out alive from that fight. It's a 4-0 trade in favor of the Saigon Jokers. Fantastic engage though. I have to say, in that fight, Vigos actually walked up to Shadow. Shadow missed a point blank death sentence, and of course the follow-up from Safety and Goni was just perfect.
Okay, let's just think about that sentence though, like, okay, we'll see a replay of what actually went on in the mid lane, so...
This was way after the death sentence.
So, okay, fantastic duck binding, catching out Fear there, so there's no way for him to run. First one to get melted down as everyone just escapes from there. Hero goes down very quickly after that, and pops the Requiem as well, just to blow some damage in. Vigos almost going down in the process. Triple kill from Goni. Thought we're gonna see the Penta, but it is gonna be Scumbag Nixwater that actually gets the kill off the Glitter Lens, and Shadow just has to flash out of that.
You know, if... Oh, wow. Hero just got taken down there immediately after SAJ took the Baron. I was actually about to say, if Goni actually got the Quadra kill, I've got a feeling that SAJ would just go all the way to the base so that they just get the first pentakill the entire GPL, honestly.
Feed Goni the pentakill.
Yeah, they would have, and they would have given up Baron, which was the correct call in that point of time. And I mean, okay, it didn't happen, but it would have been really cool.
It would have been really fun.
It would have been really cool to see the pentakill there.
Yeah.
But there we go, Light gets caught out with the stun, takes a ride on the Dark Passage. SAJ with the Baron buff will continue. Oh, Archie's gonna take a whole bunch of damage from the ace in the hole. They're not able to pick up the inhibitor, but they do get the tier 3 turret. In addition to that, Goni is just gonna start hammering away onto the top lane inhibitor turret as well, sidestepping that Dark Passage at the same time. With the Baron buff on SAJ and so many items and so much gold ahead of Imperium Pro Team, SAJ are just completely disrespecting IPT right now.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good catch onto Archie when the death sentence landed, but
It couldn't follow up.
IPT was just too far behind, and that was an easy kill
Too
for
far
Archie.
behind,
Yeah.
literally too far behind there. Archie has a zeal. Oh my goodness, Goni is just going ham on every single member of IPT. He's gonna get a last auto attack out of Fear, pick up the double kill, and it's gonna be a 4 versus nothing trade once more in favor of SAJ. They can just kind of close out the game here as long as they have minions in the base. Light is the only one alive, has sufficient wave here to kind of stop the win from SAJ, but just way too far behind.
Yep, that's right. They are
18,000 gold, 24 minutes in the game.
That's a paramount goal lead that Saigon Jokers have, and I think the only way that Imperium Pro Team is gonna come back from this game is somehow Saigon Jokers everyone just walk into the fountain and just give some sort of handicap over to the Imperium Pro Team.
I don't know. Archie's 10-1 and 5.
Yeah, and that was what I was gonna mention as well, is that all the carries from the side of Saigon Jokers are just doing very, very well in this game. Goni 5-1 and 2 as well, 204 CS. Nixwater haven't even died in the game just as of yet, 3-0 and 10. And Archie is the success story for the Jokers in the opening match of the GPL Substitute, 10-1 and 5 so far. I think that in the last base rush for the Saigon Jokers, he should be able to pick up a few more kills.
Let's see if they can try to get another pentakill, or at least attempt to.
Alright. I'm keeping my eyes really closely on the kill counts over here.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to see a opening pentakill for
five men. Okay, here's the prediction. Goni goes in with the counter-strike, gets the 5-man stun, and Archie just rat-a-tat-tats all the way with the Yomu's Ghost Blade active and the Blade of Ruin King active just to help him out a little bit. And that's it. That's the pentakill for you.
Well, let's just see if that's going to happen. And Goni with a fair bit of flank as well. He was kind of giving a fair bit of disrespect. And here
Kaigu
comes-
gets caught out. A Wild Growth using to pop both members. Hero puts himself in a very good position, but just completely melts. Vigos just takes a whole bunch of burst damage.
Double
There we
kill.
go, double kill. Will RGB survive this one? No, he's just gonna get a triple kill and die to the turret, I believe. Yes, he gets shut down.
Aw.
Kaigu is now alive, gets away, runs into the fountain. Will Light be able to survive the chase here from Goni? Goni is just not gonna continue. Hops back to a minion. Does not get away with the turret aggro. They're just gonna go on full tutorial mode. SAJ here picks up the last inhibitor that's alive in IPT's base. It is in shambles right now. Goni just hammering away. Both Nexus turret has gone down. Only the Nexus is left standing. Hero now respawns. This is GG for SAJ.
Right, and fantastic opening game for the Garner Premier League. Saigon Jokers, congratulations on picking up the first win of the summer split.
Yeah, I mean, I have to call the teams out though. Early game-wise to the mid-game, both teams played horribly.
Wow.
Really horribly. I mean, I expected a much cleaner game, at least from Saigon Jokers. They made many mistakes, especially in the mid-game where we saw they were ahead. Yes, they got a few kills, but Archie was very badly positioned. Yes, he managed to get out. Sure, lucky him, but still, that wasn't just clean play at all.
Yep, and I think this is pretty much maybe a warm-up for all the teams.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, because this is week one of the very first match. Cut them some slack, Wolf, you know, just
No, no, no.
let